Buenos tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Uh, Good afternoon to all my respected educationists. Today's presentation I will be talking about the role of e-learning through MOOC. What exactly I want everybody to have a reimagine education in a different form. And that exactly I'm going to talk about. And that I'm talking through the role of e-learning through MOOC. I hope you look at this picture. Fine. And look at this picture. What's the difference? When you look at this picture and you look at this picture, this picture is in a 1930 as a hall. And this is a picture of today's education hall. What is the missing out of that?
The number of students.
Yes. The vacant seats are the more important proposition which we are talking about is why that numbers are reducing. And this is a scenario and which is making us a concern for all of us as being an educationist. Is a very big concern for us is how can we make that, we have to make something different out of the classroom, a traditional form of classroom management. And in fact, this is the biggest proposition, this is the biggest issue for every universities or institutions today all over the world, to make sure that is how we can make our classroom environment to be more innovative and more engaged with the students. So the now question is, I'll take you to an example. This is a university in India. Still it runs with an open air classrooms. And this is Vishwa Bharati University. And this was being founded by Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore, he was a novelist. He was awarded with the Nobel Prize in 1913 for literature. And there are a lot of alumni out there from this university. Like we have Amartya Sen also, who has been awarded with the Nobel Prize for his work on economics. So, and one of the good things is that my father was also an alumni of this university also. So he passed out his social science from there. So related to when I'm talking about these all factors, the most important thing comes into my mind is what exactly making us the concern areas of why we are talking about the e-learning today in the present education system. The e-learning systems has today had given a new dimensions. And I talk about is the European and Indian country. There are a lot of trends which is being happening on online, which making students to have more crazy about that education on online. I'll give you a small example. If you take our own children, how much time they spend on smartphone? I'll tell a comparative, they don't spend more time on televisions or even a book. They spend maximum times on social medias or smartphones. So what makes us difference today? If we want to create if you want to engage who is our customer? We don't call the children to be a customer, but they are the students who are going to be engaged in our classroom. So why can't we make it an education system online and make it in a platform so that we can engage our students in such a manner that tomorrow the classroom, that innovativeness of classrooms can become a better platform for tomorrow's career. So exactly these are the overviews which I'll be covering in my topic is Indian education ecosystem, what exactly we have in India. Second, what are the e-learning drivers? Third, we'll be talking about the e-learning challenges in India. And next, we'll be talking about the MOOC. And I have taken a case study which will be talking about iNurture ASBM e-learning model, which we have established. And we have a discussion about that. But when I also want to focus that is, I have already started doing a working paper for that. And I want to increase the sample size. I have a limited sample, so I want to increase the sample size of all the universities in India having an online education impact. And it will be, that study will be in respect to the perspective of the learner's perspective as well as to the educationist perspective.
So, does everyone knows what is a MOOC? You say through MOOC with MW.
Yeah, that I'm starting, sir. That I'm starting because that I'll not come up because that is because I want to have the feature of what exactly the education system in India is all about. Why we are talking about the, first I'm talking about the e-learning. Why I'm talking about the e-learning, then we'll be going to the MOOC. The first, why today India with a population of over 1.2 billion and over 30% of the school age Indian boasts the second largest education system in the world. That is the most important thing which we are concerned about. And this is the important thing which need to be taken into considerations. Second, by 2025, India is predicted to be the home to be the largest working age population in the world with 25% of the world workforce. Next, despite the presence of more than one, we have 14 lakh schools and over 3,500 diploma awarding of higher education institutions across the country. India still lacks infrastructure in its conventional education system to serve the growing populations. And internet connectivity across the country, 28% of the population, around 144 million at today's calculations. And India's e-learning market size expected to grow to around $40 billion by 2070. These are the features which is making us to concern to have a study on why can't we have e-learning process implemented. This is also one of the trend. I've shown you the Google trend where from which of the countries students are having searches on the Google. Now you see the search trends which is happening on around the world. We have from the France, European countries, the France are the more intuitive towards the e-learning process. They're searching more information on how to have education on online e-learning. Second, you have Taiwan, you have Hong Kong, you have Morocco, Spain, Singapore, Australia, Vietnam, Ireland, and India is also on the top on the top 10, where students are curious to search on the online education courses through Google. Now the question start is, let me give you the clear picture where India has its own ecosystem of education ecosystem. In India, we normally have, this is a compulsory education which we have, elementary education system, that we start from a pre-primary, primary school and upper primary schools. This is a normal trend which is a compulsory for every education system. But then we have our secondary education, which is on open school or maybe open school secondary, that is senior secondary schools. Then this is what we have a study of concern today. On my study, I've been taking into consideration the higher educations. We consider undergraduates, postgraduates, master degree, and PhD. This comes under the higher education system in India. And normally, and basically, I talk you the basic thing which we are discussing here is why we are talking about the ecosystem in India. Our education systems are having a very different parameters of education. We have a lot of restrictions in education system impacting. You cannot, even in public sectors, public universities and private universities, institutions have their own norms and conditions to execute their education. Now, what is the e-learning drivers? What we are talking about here is why we are talking about e-learning, why it's going to help or promote, or how it's going to gear up the education system all over the world. The first thing which we are talking about here is English language vernaculars. I give you an example. When I was interacting, I stay in Colonial Mayor. I was interacting with the students from the different countries, right? The basic thing, the problem they are facing is English. They come here to have a training on in English. They were searching out for a different training institutes on imparting English. And the biggest weak point, that is the reason, online education, why can't we have a driving force for and have an online English courses? That can be a best way of promoting in the worldwide education hub. Second, continuous professional development, that we are talking about a CPT, upskill and reskill. Why we are talking this, why it is going to make us, I'll give you a small example. In my last visit, when I went to Singapore, it's a small island. The country is a very small island, but I tell you, this country has been developed it's totally with tech. It's very high tech country. It's a small island, and the island has been made on a ocean. You can create lands are being created through an ocean. And the basic thing I found that is every technology which has been used, it is used as a part of the economic growth. And I give you a small example. They don't have a toll tax collections. automatic. They have all automatic ERP system, electronic road pricing. In same fact, every way you don't have a police scrutinizing you every nook and corners of the street. Even it is in Spain also. But the fact is in Singapore, normally you find the discipline part of where you will be restricted with economic growth is depends upon the how you're going to have a technology implemented. I see that electronic road pricing system, which has been implemented in Singapore, normally it takes care of every systems. And the ERP has given a new trend of how to make a traffic control system. And that is it. And how I tell you the fact is why Singapore is having a better GDP than the other countries. Because of two things. They have upskill and the reskill factors coming into the play. And I tell you the most important thing is there are a lot of top global business schools or universities comes up from Singapore. Why? The reason is they started having a training on giving a reskill and a upskill. Because unless and until you don't enhance the knowledge of students, it is very impossible to make them acquainted with the current economic or current employment conditions. So the basic thing we want to make here with the focus is that through online, a course does not complete within a span of a course 2 years period, but it needs to be enhanced, it needs to be upgraded. Upskill and reskill is a major factor which is to be taken into form of an e-learning. Because education is the only, I want to say that is, if you want to be successful in, happy and successful in life, never stop learning. This is a fact. So through considering that factor, we have always been taken into why what makes e-learning to be a driving factors in the education system. Upskill and the reskill. Third, the spread of internet and mobile networks. This is a very, I was talking about. You talk to, I'll give a small example, right? Once we husband and wife, we were sitting on the different rooms, right? We were working in the different rooms. I called my wife. I called twice to have an attention, but I did not receive a response. Then what I did is I just put up a message on the WhatsApp, and you can't believe it. Within a second, I received a reply from her. What makes us a sense here? Even you talk about in your children also. Even you call them, they will not pick up your phones. If you put a message on the WhatsApp, you will find that they instantly put a reply to it. I'll give you another example to it. In my classroom environment, in our institution in India, we have a lot of restrictions of carrying a mobiles in the classroom. But there are a lot of subjects which need to have an accreditation of mobile phones. I'll give a small example. Like in my class, I saw the students are normally they're diverted towards using a smartphone during the classrooms. I said, what time the solution I'm going to have it? Even you stop them, even you scold them, once in our India, we have around 90 minutes of a class. Meantime, every class sessions in the middle of the session, they will take out the mobile phones to surf. It's fact. You cannot stop them. Even if you scold them also, they will do that. But I found a solution what to do it. The fact I did is, I created every Twitter account for every student. And I asked the questions through the Twitter. And they started replying the answers through the Twitter. So you have to engage the students in a proper way so that it becomes and more important thing is if I'm having a classroom of 60 students, it's not possible to have an attention to each other individual students. So the best is the technology to reach out to every students. And that is the advantage that which we are talking about. There is the spread of internet and mobile networks. Why can't we take it as a e-learning platform today? Next, government initiatives. Now India has already started. India is ready with, they have Swamam, ma'am, I was sharing with Maria ma'am also that we have already started an online free education, which government is impacting through the websites. And they are talking about that they have some post-graduations courses which has been available online, but by definition, we cannot be free. Because every institution needs to survive. So exactly they need to have their own platform of how to have the return on investment. And these are the e-learning challenges in India. Normally we have a lot of restrictions, which I was talking about here is higher education, K-12 are regulated uh, by the higher secondary +2. So normally these are the institutions we normally have schools coming up regulated by, we have boards, we have state boards, which has been regulated and the role of the regulators. The regulators' roles comes into the play when we're talking about K-12. But when the higher education system comes up, we have a lot of norms and we have restrictions on the university grant commissions. We have All India Council of Technical Educations, and we have a professional accrediting bodies which they accredit our courses. If you want to run the courses, you need to have the approval from these all institutions. So if we don't have a one body, we have a 3 bodies working together to make that accreditations. And normally vocational courses are normal, which has been short-term courses, 1 year or a 6 months courses, which has been necessary for skill enhancement. And unregulated can be a profit, largely private. These are the institutions which has been taken into considerations through a regulated challenges. But the more important factor in India is that there are 2 businesses in India will never stop. One is health and one is education. Because as such we grow with the populations, normally these are the 2 businesses which, and that is the reason there are a lot of mushrooming institutions are coming up. But the biggest issue happens with us is that we are not able to impact that level of benchmark of education platform to the students. Now, this is an e-learning challenges in India. What are the e-learning challenges we have in India? The first is the cost and the integrations. Cost is obviously a factor which is going to be involved, because today I was showing today you talk about smart classrooms everywhere. The investment is very necessary. If you want to enhance the classrooms, you need to have a lot of investment, and that investment may be an instant, but it may be a long term, it may be a better return on investment. And second is integration into the existing curriculum. I hope you may be facing, every university is facing that problem, because how are you going to integrate your e-learning through a traditional form of learning process? It's very difficult, because there are a lot of educationists who are very convenient about, they are very convenient about giving a traditional form of education. They are not convenient about giving an e-learning process. But the thing is, the time has changed. You need to have a different forms of education platform where you can engage the students. Students' engagement does not finishes within the 4 walls. The students' engagement starts beyond the 4 walls. So that is the reason, whenever you want to have an integration with system or an education or with the students or every need, you need to be outside the classroom or 4 walls. Then setting up the required infrastructures and the bricks and mortars institutions of learning. Now the time has come. We have to go out. Now we have to go from the traditional form into the brick and mortar forms of e-education, because that is an ultimate solution for every institutions today. This is an article in the Forbes. The articles have already predicted that online education will be the next future of education. And it has been already been there. Every universities have already started. Coventry University has already started. UK is a top universities on that. Now Stanford is already into that. MIT has already into that. All the top universities are focusing on online education, because when we talk about an enrollment, students enrollment, we will be talking about the options of alternative different forms of education system. Yeah. Now this is a solution. We want to provide a MOOC solution, a software solution for this e-learning. And this we did it in our institution. And this is a massive open online courses. And massive is an enrollment numbers when you talk about, and open is a no mandatory qualifications. You don't have a restrictions in the qualifications students enrolling. And third, we are talking about open. It's open to anybody who can access every from any sitting where any hour of the world. And last, structured. You have a structured modules which can be updated every now and then, so that the students is updated with the knowledge and the skills. Yeah, this is a case model. This is a case model which we have taken from our institution. This is an institution, ASBM, and we have tied up with iNurture Pro Learning we have established a learning LMS, a learning management system. And this, the ultimate, we have used some of the models to establish the relationship between the present new learning management system. What exactly we do? This is an engagement activity of an online exam. We do it. First, we have a mailer system. We have online webinar orientations. We have event expert sessions. We have announcement sessions. We have assignment on the LMS portal. We have doubt clearing sessions. We have PCB. Then we have assessment, we have discussion forum, and we have students performance and completion analysis. This is the whole platform. We have made it on a learning management system. And we try to activate this all propositions into the one form of an e-learning today. And I'll show you what is exactly we're going to fulfill out of that. What is our ultimate purpose of establishing that learning management system? The first, personalize the learning. Because look, the days have gone when students or teacher used to come to the class, students used to listen, and they used to go out of the class. But today, the time has changed. Today, students wants to be always be in touch with 24/7 with the teachers, because the knowledge today has not been bounded by the confined with the time. Our knowledge today is something which is you have to be in touch with to make the students to be more engaged. So personalized learning is the most important factor which is going to be taken into the advantage through this e-learning. Second, online access and resources. So the basic problem happens is that today, in the traditional education system, what happens is you don't have, you have books which has been very old editions. And I'll give you a small example. When I teach, when I'm teaching marketing, there are some of the terms which may not be available in the book. I'll give a small example, cloud marketing. I talk about metro spirituality. These are the terms when you search, it's maybe available on the online, but normally the students are not been aware what is exactly happening in the new trend in the marketing. So when we want to take it into the consideration, the best way is, why can't we have an online access and resources or study materials available on the online? So they can have accessibility 24/7 from anywhere. Third, scalability. The most important factor is networking with all other scholars. The same thing which we're talking about there is scalability means we want to spread the geographic parameters, which will not, that is the reason I said countries can be having a different boundaries, but knowledge does not have a boundary. Why can't we make it, let us reach out? Because e-learning is the only platform where we can reach out to all geographic locations of the students coming together. MIT did that. Stanford did that. When they started the online first course, they had an enrollment more than 1,15,000 students. And the password dropout may be high, but the password was around 7,500 students or 5,000. They had. The advantage was that the concern is that enrollment was more. The people curiosity, the students' curiosity was more to get involved in the course, to know about. Enable time anywhere learning. That is the reason I tell you, because smartphones today is the best learning book for your children. Even for every youth also. Any information, if I want to take it even, we will take our own examples. Any information you want to retrieve for a span of time, we want to click on a particular smartphones and find those informations. So anytime, anywhere learning is a process which has been happening, which is making e-learning process to be more advantageous to the students. Students, I tell you the fact is today, students are more convenient to go have their own study time. You cannot force them to tell that this is the timing which you need to have. They want to have their own study flexibility time. So e-learning is an only way where you can make them acquainted with. Next, we have a blended pedagogy or the collaborative learning. This is the best way. When I'm talking about a collaborative learning is, every institutions or universities have their own constant of resources. or knowledge. Why can't we bridge that knowledge with the different universities? E-learning cannot be confined within one parameter of a geographic locations. Let us collaborate with all other resources, or we want to, it may be our best faculties from a different universities, collaborating with your e-learning process and imparting educations on a webinars. All these factors which is going to help them, because this is the collaborative we have to. And more important thing, I'll tell you the fact is, this is an experience which I want to share, because I don't know in Spain education system how this is. Our kinder students, our class 7 students when the last year I was there in Singapore. In India, we carry a lot of books in our bag. When the moment they go to the school in the morning, they go like this. But in Singapore, I saw. In India, students, if you literally want to make them to go to a school, they start crying. In Singapore, I see the girls running to at morning 7. They start running to the schools to have the grab up of the chairs. And I tell you the fact is, the most important thing making the students to engage to the student education or classroom is not with, you have to make that classroom to be more interesting. Another fact I tell you that is, class 7 students of a Singapore classroom, they assess through a smart classrooms. They don't have books. They have all smartphone activity which has been academic, and students are more involved into it. And they don't carry the heavy books like in India. And that is the reason still they are to the better. I hope in a better university in the global universities, in the top universities. So the basic thing we want to focus here is, let us make it a blended pedagogy or a collaborative learning process, which can help both the global universities to come together to have a better education platform or a curriculum set for the students. There is another important thing is high students engagement we are talking about here is, if the e-learning wants to make it a more focus area, we need to have a more engaging students in a better way. And today I tell you, there will be few days off, you will not have a televisions in your home. And your children will be, next generation is not going to watch televisions, and that it has already been started. The percentage or how much time you spend on televisions have reduced, and television will be obsolete. I tell you, now today, smartphones and televisions have started being collaborative. Now they are becoming a one gadget, and televisions manufacturers are very conscious right now to find a solution how we can make smartphones and TV to be connected. Yes, we're doing it. Another, ETSs of faculty and mentors. This is the most important thing which this platform is going to create. Now, this is the model which we have. This is the model we follow in our e-learning LMS. And this is the structure which we are talking about. It is Bloom's taxonomy. I hope Bloom's taxonomy is a psychologist, Dr. Benjamin Bloom, who written in his, when he has adapted this, he founded this theory, and that is in 1956. He always talked about, exactly, he was talking about the different tiers of, I want to say that is levels of learning system. And this 6 levels of cognitive connectivity, complicity. This is the most important thing, because in learning, the most important thing is, today, it is a concern area that we don't change the classroom environment. The learning process cannot be same, because you don't have the same students coming every year. You need to change, adapt the different forms of education or learning process for a classroom to make it more engaged. So we had followed some of the theory of a Bloom's taxonomy. There is one of the part of if we are talking about first 3 levels of undergraduate level courses, which we have online, what we do is we try to concentrate on applications, comprehensive, and knowledge. These are the 3 parameters we normally focus on our learning process. Why? because knowledge is most important thing which is going to make them to the upper level. I tell you the fact is, I tell you how many people have their degrees used in their professional life. The knowledge which they gain, they use it in their professional life. It's hardly. So this is a basic thing of a concern we need to be taken into consideration if you want to make it a classroom to be more engaged. The knowledge is basic thing which is to be a lifetime. It's not for a short term. Then we talk about the comprehension. The comprehension is the way you learn. This is the most important thing, because today education is not, I talked about is, education is not within a book. Education can happen anywhere. Even you're sitting under a tree also, even you're sitting on a train also, you're traveling in a train, you are traveling in a flight. Education can happen anywhere. Education does not need a boundary or does not need a classroom to happen it today. I'll tell you the factors. And if you want to have it, the comprehension, you need to have the adaptation of teaching skills to make students engage for a particular subject. You don't require to have a confined or a standard form of a education system to make students to listen to your class. Applications. The most important thing which we lack is whenever we teach some of the subjects, we don't relate to their application areas. Whether it's a subject, I'll give you a small example. We have a subject called social and digital media marketing. Today is a major subject which is to be concerned. I'll tell you that is rather in our institutions, students are not more confined to have advertisement, rather they want to learn more on social and digital media marketing, because today the trend has changed. Today digital marketing is the most important proposition, is helping any brand to promote. I'll give a small example. So I'll give a small example of I give you, that is we are using that example is today if you want to teach a student what is the digital marketing is, you cannot teach them by understanding the parameter, how it's going to help them, how it's going to be applied in their professional life. And we have a social media called Instagram. Instagram came late into the market. It is a part of Facebook. It is a part of Facebook, but there is a strong point in Instagram. There is a unique USP for Instagram is that any social media cannot be linked to the Instagram. But Instagram, anything you post can be linked to other social media. But anything you post in other social media, you cannot come engage into the Instagram. And Instagram today has become a new propositions of branding promotions on the digital marketing. Now every brand, you will find a short 30 seconds advertisements on the Instagram of a quality images. And tell you that is, you will not ignore that video without watching. And people, that is the reason Instagram has become a new propositions of giving or promoting your products. So this is one of the theory which we have adapted to make it an e-learning process to be more better. So these are the unified dashboards of the learning platform which we have used. We can have it. Then this is also the view that the content types of makes learning interesting. We have self-learning materials. We have PowerPoint presentation, videos, question banks. And we have also made some students teachers one-to-one communication anywhere, anytime. This is a look, this is a layout. This is the dashboard. This is the total dashboard we have, where we have an interaction of discussions going up online. Whenever a session goes on online,